Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Friday Charge from the EV Geek podcast. We're your hosts, Joel and Sebastian. And today, December 13th, 2024, we've got a handful of topics on the docket, such as some news about the new Lucid Gravity, some news about the Rivian Adventure Network, and a couple other stories. So without further ado, let's plug in and get started. Our first topic for the week is that GM has killing Cruise. So on Tuesday, GM announced that they're going to stop funding for Cruise LLC, which is its robo-taxi program. This comes after the last year where they kind of struggled to relaunch the service after a pretty serious pedestrian crash that led to a lot of investigations and rework and restructuring and etc. GM states they intend to move several of Cruise's engineers in-house, and they'll work with the Super Cruise team with the goal of making Super Cruise an actual hands-free, fully autonomous system. They kind of, in their statement, they point out that there's a big push to have kind of personal autonomy rather than maybe a robo-taxi fleet, which is kind of the opposite of what it seems like Tesla's trying to move towards. So that's interesting to me. We'll see who's right in the long run. But yeah, I didn't have a whole bunch of notes on this because ultimately, I mean, Cruise was pretty. I mean, it was big, but it was also small, right? And they've not done anything really for the last year. So I guess this is really just a continuation of them not really doing anything.
It's not a surprise. I mean, people like on X were blowing up like this was like groundbreaking news. I mean, if you think about it, they really haven't done a lot with this since the pedestrian accident. I mean, they kind of grounded their vehicles for a while. And GM is kind of probably bleeding money on EVs right now. I mean, they're not profitable for them. So they got to figure out a way to cut cost. And they kind of figured out, Tesla's got this figured out and are a lot farther ahead. And what you don't want to do is probably compete with Tesla on that end. But I like their idea. I like that they're going to focus on kind of like, Super Cruise or in their vehicles instead of this, because I think that's an area where they can show improvement. That's an area where they hopefully can compete with Tesla. So yeah, like I said, not surprising. It's a way for them to save money and to use that personnel elsewhere.
Yeah. I think I saw, speaking of cost cutting, I believe someone estimated that it would save GM after all is said and done around $1 billion per year.
That's not chump change. So
yeah, not a small amount.
We're not talking like 2 million, which would be chump change. Yeah, that's a big amount. So yeah,
2 million is chump change. Okay,
for them,
Mr. Moneybags.
For them, it's chump change. I mean, yeah. For me, that's like $20. So yeah.
Moving on, the Lucid Gravity has awesome range. So Lucid has started allowing auto journalists to publish reviews of the new Lucid Gravity, and it has been met with overwhelmingly positive results. This thing seems to do a lot of things right. It has a lot of cool things. It seems like it took everything they learned from the Air and just made it better, and also a SUV that kind of looks like a minivan, but also is an SUV. And on top of all of this, the EPA this week released their official range estimate for the Gravity, which for this 120 kilowatt hour pack is 450 miles. Just for comparison, the new Escalade IQ has around 450 miles of range. It's somewhere between 440 and 460. It has a 200 kilowatt hour battery pack. And the R1S Max Pack has 410 miles of range from 141 kilowatt hours of energy. So good to see that they are keeping the Lucid dream of being as efficient as possible in here. And really just, I've seen a little bit of content. Go check out Out of Specs. They've had a couple videos now on the Gravity, and they did a full tour of one earlier this week, and looking through it looks pretty sweet. I'm still not fully sold on the exterior styling, but it seems like it's a pretty sweet ride, which it better be for like 130 grand, or at least that's what they're kind of starting with. Yeah. I do believe the intent is eventually have a starting model at like 80 grand, which I mean is still a lot of money for a car, and it still better be awesome. Yep. But yeah, this thing seems like hopefully for Lucid it will be an all-star.
So yeah, I mean, one thing Lucid has in their favor is they design really cool looking cars. I mean, looking at, like you said, it does give off a slight minivan vibe just with the lines in the front and the back. But yeah, I mean, Lucids are known for their range. I mean, that's what they're known for. They're known to have incredible range, and we continue to see it with the Gravity. And I'm kind of like you. I'm looking at it now. I don't know if I'm quite sold on it, but I mean, then again, I'll never own one because I don't have $100,000 to throw at a car. I mean, I never will I have $100,000 to throw at a car.
Never say never.
Unless Lucid wants to give me one. Lucid, if you're listening, we'll gladly take one to review for you too. So we'll even go pick it up if we need to. So yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool car. I mean, it's going to be they're not going to sell a lot of them because of the price, but it's awesome looking. And the reviews I've seen, kind of what out of spec showed on this, it's very, very impressive.
Yeah. And I mean, and like I said before, there's a lot of little things in the car too that are just like, oh, that's smart. That was a good decision. Like it has the stow and go seats where you can fold the third row down and actually put it in the trunk, like in the subfloor of a trunk. And then you have a nice flat area. Like this little stuff is like, oh, that makes sense. No one else is doing that right now. Why?
But
yeah,
moving on. Saying 5 miles per kilowatt hour. So that's impressive. That's impressive efficiency
for a 3-row SUV.
For a 3-row SUV, compared to what we drove the Kia and we were getting 2.5. So
something like that.
That's double the efficient. Well, the Kia is also built like a brick, but just how it's aerodynamic. But yeah, I mean, 5 miles per kilowatt hour is pretty impressive.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Moving on, this topic is actually from last week, but for some reason I completely forgot to include it. Rivian has opened its the Rivian Adventure Network for all. Put a little asterisk there at the end. Rivian late last week opened their new charging outpost located at Joshua Tree, and this was the first RAN site to be open to all EVs. Previously, of course, RAN sites were Rivian only. In the following week, so this week, Rivian has added a handful more sites that are open to EVs across the country. There's just a couple of random pop-up. Like I think there's a couple in Michigan, a couple in Virginia, one in like Colorado. And so, just a little handful. The new open to all EV brand stations incorporate kind of a tweaked charger design. To me, it looks like the pedestals are taller and have longer cables on them. And that's to allow them to, interface easily with other makes and models that maybe don't all have their charge ports on the front driver's side like the Rivians do. That said, I believe I saw one of these new sites one of these sites that's open to all is a first gen site. So I wonder if maybe there's intent to in the future just allow all of them. I'm not 100% sure. RAN chargers are able to deliver a claimed 300 kilowatt peak charging speed, and then also will support high voltage vehicles. It's important to note on these, it's like, excuse me, it's like on the Tesla superchargers where your cabinet is rated for some number of kilowatts, and there's like 4 posts on that cabinet. And so if all 4 chargers on the cabinet are in use, it cuts it down to like 90 kilowatt.
Yep.
Right. Kind of similar to Tesla supercharger. As the site fills up, you're going to get less speed.
Yep.
RAN chargers also, like Tesla superchargers, are going to charge a higher rate if you do not drive a Rivian. I've seen a couple screenshots floating around, like one of the sites. Rivian pricing was 40 something cents a kilowatt hour, whereas non-Rivian pricing was 60.
Oh,
which is
a big jump. That's a jump.
But hey, they got to make money somehow.
They got to make it somehow. Are they doing this as like did you say they're doing a subscription service to where you can or not?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing anything about that when I was reading. And maybe that's something that will come soon or in the future.
So so it looks like their RAN network has 560 chargers at 92 sites. So it's not like a huge network, but I'm glad. I'm glad all these charging companies are now decided to play nice with each other in a sandbox and kind of open it up. We've talked about what Tesla has opened up so far and what they expect to open up next year. It just makes it better the winner in this is the consumer. So it's, if you have a CCS car, knowing that you have another 560 chargers at 92 sites that you have the options to charge it, that's great. I don't think we're going to have a lot of Teslas charging at these sites unless they have a connector, and Teslas probably really don't need to charge at these sites unless they're going somewhere like Joshua Tree or somewhere kind of off the grid a little bit to charge. So another great win for EV owners, especially, and another way for Rivian to make more money at 60 cents a kilowatt hour.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And our final topic of the week, because this is a short news week, because there wasn't a whole lot that happened this week, which is sometimes a good thing, is that Amazon and Hyundai have launched Amazon Auto. So this week, Amazon launched their partnership with Hyundai, allowing customers to purchase a new vehicle on Amazon in 48 U.S. cities. So customers will be able to pick out their vehicle, complete financing, schedule pickup, etc., all within Amazon, and the pickup will be from a participating dealership. Customers will also be able to get an instant trade-in value as well through the site. So it acts like basically they're going to have to fill out this whole paperwork, probably take pictures of a car, upload it, and then it'll spit out and say it'll give you 12 grand or whatever. This all seems cool, but it's only at participating dealerships, right? There's going to be dealers that fight tooth and nail to not do this because they want to get you in there so they can do the bait and switch tricks on you.
Yep.
But also, I don't know. I was like, this is cool, but at the same time, it's not exciting to me because it just seems like a stopgap. It seems like it's just kind of filling that little gap between your traditional dealer experience and actual direct sales. Because if Hyundai really wanted to, if it was legal in the States, that's a whole different conversation.
Yep.
They could just sell you the dang car.
Yep.
Hyundai could sell you the car and then take it to your house or take it to a designated pickup location, whatever, right?
Yep.
They're not really doing anything but taking dealerships that probably already had maybe a way to buy the car online on the dealer's website and just wrapping it in the Amazon site.
Mm-hmm. Basically, they're just acting as a pimp. Basically, that's all they're doing. So, they're the middleman. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I probably wouldn't use this. I'm an Amazon member. We get packages here at the house every day, but I don't know why I would do this when I'm still going to have to deal with the dealer. I'm still going to have to go pick it up. They're probably going to still try to upsell me when I get there. It's just, I don't understand it.
Now Amazon does say, which is I say in theory, Amazon is pretty confident that the price you see on their website will be the price you pay. It will include all fees and taxes and blah, 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 blah. But I have such a hard time trusting most dealerships. I know there are good dealerships. I know there are good dealerships out there. We've been lucky to work with some of them. Like, all that's great. But there's such a negative stigma around dealerships, and it's earned.
Yeah. So I'm curious, if I find a car on there and let's just say if it's a Hyundai Ioniq 5 and it's $40,000 and that's my price, do I then go to the dealer and see if I can get a cheaper deal with them? And if I don't, I come home and buy through Amazon. So that's what I'm wondering about, because dealers when you go in there, they have some wiggle room depending on what they can do or what they can. But that's what I'd be curious about. Does this take out that negotiation? So then in the end, dealer does make more money because they don't have to negotiate the price with you. It's a kind of a take it or leave it price. And is the price going to change? Like, if, we live in Little Rock and I find one in Little Rock for 40,000, but then I go to Conway and they are selling the same one for 38, is it going to see? That's where you get into issues, because Tesla, doesn't matter where you live, you're paying the same price for the car. It doesn't matter if you live in LA or you live in Montana, whatever the price is, you're going to pay for it. So that's where I'm wondering, are you going to have to start dealers competing with each other in the same area over the price of these cars? So it's odd. I just say it's odd for me. So it doesn't seem like there's a purpose for it. So
yeah. Yep. Well, that will be a wrap for today's episode. Quick episode. Yep. Thank you all for plugging into the Friday Charge. Be sure to subscribe to the EV Geek podcast on YouTube and tap that notification icon to be notified about new releases. We had some great content released this week, including a review of the EV9, which is an excellent car. Chef's kiss. Go watch that. As well as we did a pretty fun, lively interview with a group of Ford Lightning owners, which was just a good time. It was a lot of fun. My power went out at the end. It was fun.
And I agree with you. They are becoming the really fun group of people to interact with and talk to. So we had Liv and Patrick on about the Mach-E. We've had these people. We got to meet them at Electrify Expo. It's turning out to be a really cool group of individuals to talk to. So
yeah, I'm really liking the Ford EV people.
Yes. And they're so enthusiastic. They're like, yes, let's talk. We're so excited to talk to you. I'm like, oh, cool. That's neat. So yeah.
Should be exciting week next week as well, as we have more EGMP stuff come out. We've driven like all the EGMP stuff in this last month. And now it's all coming out at the same time because we're kind of catching up in our backlog.
Yep.
Because next week we have the Ioniq 5 and 6.
Yes.
And we need to schedule and do a wrap-up episode on that too, to just kind of talk about all 4 of the cars we've driven now, just like what is in common between them, what do we hate, what do we love, and all that. So
yeah, we'll release a holiday special for y'all over the break to talk about all the EGMP cars. So Kia, Hyundai, not Genesis, because I found out from you, Genesis does not use EGMP platform,
except for the GV60.
The GV60. So yeah, so I learned something new from Sebastian. So
All right, guys. Well, so long, everyone, and we will see you again on the next episode of The Friday Charge.